Welcome back.
Hello again. Fancy meeting you here.
Right.
Look, my clothes didn't change.
Mine didn't either, but you can't really see mine because mine's a not today.
Really need one of those.
So how was your day?
Well, I went and did my additional training that I had to do today. Very boring. It was exactly what I learned in my previous training, except they had some better examples.
Gotcha.
That's about it. So I got 4 packets worth of things to read. That's fun. And I was there for about an hour. So that means I'll get to come home an hour early one of these nights.
Now it's going to be funny listening to this because we're recording. Technically, this is December 1st now, but this isn't going to play until Christmas break.
Yep.
So it's
But
going to
we
be
also recorded this morning. So we're
Yes.
recording in the same day, but not on the same day.
Yeah. Something like that. But yes, we're recording now, so it doesn't interrupt any Christmas breaks or anything like that. We don't have to scramble to record and
Yep. Or working around the hustle and bustle of the house while little man is on break.
Yep, that way you can enjoy him and not have to worry about, oh shit, when are we going to record? We got this. So yes, so we figured we would record a regular episode that's going to be released in that week in the daytime. I guess it really wouldn't matter what order we do it in. But the second one recording is going to be like a Christmas themed something. In my case, the one I'm doing tonight is a Christmas true crime. There was a few different ones that I was thinking, but this one, because it's short, it's sweet, and let's face it, it's Christmas break. No one's going to want to listen to long, dragged out bullshit. I mean, we got our side of bullshit, which we're going to make that, just like a half a helping because, we're watching the Wait around the holidays. So it's, like I said, it's a short, sweet, to the point. There is a book on it. I have read the book. So there is a lot more detail, but it's also boring detail.
Gotcha.
So I'm just using Wikipedia for my little notes.
Gotcha.
And then that way it's like short, sweet, to the point. That way we're not here all night and multiple parts.
Yeah. I am going to be doing I want to do a Christmas haunting. But I haven't started that research yet. So we'll see when we get there.
Yeah, good luck.
Thanks.
Because that was my original thought too. But, I figure I'll go with the true crime. Because it's what I love. Okay, so mind you, I know this isn't going to be played for a month. But while we were down today at work, we had some downtime. I watched the Casey Anthony documentary. Disgusting.
I'm sorry.
I'll leave it at that. Disgusting.
Yeah, Wisconsin has some of the most horrific serial killers. So yeah, I think we've got 4 of the top 10.
Lovely.
Must be something in the water. Good thing mine's bottled.
But the Casey Anthony thing, like that case has always just pissed me off.
Mm-hmm.
As it does most people. I'm well aware of that. Well, what got me interested in this is I saw this dude. There's going to be a documentary coming out. It was a TikTok. It's going to blow the lid off of everything. It's going to change the way you think about the case. No, it don't. It didn't. There was like 2 seconds I did feel a little sorry for her. Then she opened her mouth again.
It doesn't take much, you know. She cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Here's my thing. She has had a long time to perfect her story.
Oh, yes.
And I use that term loosely. One of the first things she talks about is how she was a compulsive liar.
You don't
And we
reveal
should
that.
believe you now why.
Yep.
She's a convicted liar because she was convicted of lying to the police. So I'm just gonna stop because the whole thing just pissed me off. And I mean, there's some things in there that made a little sense, but at the same point, you knew, lady, you knew.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
so
let's be
moving on.
honest. She had time to perfect her story before she even did it.
Oh, absolutely. 31 days before this child was reported missing. Now, do I think the dad's a little shady? Fuck yes, I do.
Yeah.
Do I believe everything that she claims about the dad? No. Some, absolutely. But not all of it. Not all of it. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I guess if you want to watch it, watch it. When I originally started the first 50 minutes, because it's like a 3-part, and each part's at least an hour. First 50 minutes, I shut it off. I was like, this bitch. Nope.
That was funny.
I cannot. So, yeah. If you choose to watch it, and then message me and we'll talk shit about it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's something. Let me tell you. And I was actually going to wait until we record like next week's episode and talk about it, because again, I know this isn't going to be out until Christmas, but no.
Too funny. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just can't. So yeah, moving on. Yeah, I don't know exactly what day this is going to be out. So if Christmas hasn't passed when this is released, I hope you have a good Christmas. If it did pass, I hope you had a good Christmas, you know. So do we want to jump right in, or?
Yeah, I'd say we can probably jump right in. I don't have anything else new that happened today, so.
Yeah, like I said, I had some downtime at work, watched that Hot Mess Express, and then we worked, and now I'm home. Had some Hawaiian pizza.
Although I did think of a recommendation, and I don't know why I didn't think of it earlier, which is the new series on Netflix, Wednesday. I'm obsessed. I already binged it yesterday.
Yeah, I watched the original Addams Family, but I don't think I've never watched like the remakes or the movies or any of that.
I think you would like it.
I probably would. I really think I would, but I've still got like 3 other shows that I have to catch up on, and yeah,
So yeah, that's my recommendation. If you haven't watched it yet, go take a peek, at least like 2 episodes, and let me know what you think. Because I thought it was really good, but it also kind of plays on like a Nancy Drew perspective kind of a thing.
okay,
So yeah, that's why I think you would like it.
all right, yeah, maybe. Well, like I said, I know with our downtime, we're definitely going to be working. Yeah, so
I don't get overtime. I got to get rid of mine. So
I've, you know what? Do I like working the overtime? No. Do I like the pay that comes with it? Absolutely.
yep.
I
I like
do.
holiday pay too. That's what I get is holiday pay. I don't get overtime. I get holiday pay.
Yeah.
I love
Which
holiday
is
pay.
nice. Yeah, holiday pay is nice. So let's rip this bad boy open and get into this case. And the first time I heard of it on a podcast, which led me to download an audio, not an audio book, like a Kindle ebook.
Okay.
And I read it. And then I happened to hear it on another podcast. And before that, I had never heard of it. And honestly, I don't know why I thought it took place in Michigan, but I might have it confused with another one. But
Okay.
so this one is the Lawson family murders.
That sounds familiar.
Yes, it's interesting. So very little background on this. In 1911, Charles Lawson, which is the father, marries Fanny Manning. He's got a really cold draft, like really cold. Anyway, and together they had 8 children. The third child, William, was born in 1914. So they got married in 1911, and by 1914 they already had their third child. So they like started knocking boots, and I don't think anyone says that anymore, do they?
No.
So but they apparently started their family right away.
Yeah.
And William died at the age of 6 due to an illness. In 1918, he followed his younger brothers, Marion and Elijah, to the Germantown area. I believe they lived in Germantown, North Carolina.
Okay.
I don't know where they lived before that. Sorry. But they moved to Germantown, the Germantown area. And they worked as tenant tobacco farmers, saving enough money to buy their own farm on Brook Cove Road. So
That just
now,
sounds ominous.
yeah, doesn't it? So in 1929, just days prior to Christmas, Lawson, who at this time is age 43, takes his family. The wife, Fanny, at the time, I love that name, is 37, and their 7 remaining children, which is Marie, age 17, Arthur, age 16, Carrie, age 12, Maybelle, age 7. I love that name too. It's old timey, but I love it. James, who is 4, Raymond, who is 2, and Mary Lou, who is 4 months old.
Good Lord.
So the whole family.
She was busy.
Yes, they were very busy. So he takes them into town, buys them all new clothes. And he does this to have a family portrait taken.
Hmm.
Um,
He was doing good then.
yeah, this would have been an unusual occurrence for a working class family.
Hmm.
So this kind of leads to the speculation that this was premeditated. It was speculated that he had impregnated the 17-year-old daughter.
Mm.
Yeah. And him having purchased his own farm 2 years previous, together with that of the Associated Press wire that went out on the day after the murders, they characterized him as a well-to-do farmer. So this would make the pre-Christmas shopping spree family portrait reasonable.
Hmm.
On the afternoon of December 25th, Lawson first shot his daughters, Carrie and Maybelle, which was the 12 and 7-year-old, as they were setting out to their uncle and aunt's house. He waited for them by the tobacco barn until they were in range, and then he shot them with a 12-gauge shotgun. Then, to ensure that they were deceased, he bludgeoned them. And then he placed their bodies in a tobacco barn. After this, he returns to the house where he proceeds to shoot his wife, who is on the porch. As soon as the gun was fired, Marie, the 17-year-old, excuse me,
I
who
thought she was
he
dead.
is not yet. At this point, Fanny, Carrie, and Maybelle,
Okay.
they're gone. And I don't know if it says this yet. But prior to starting the carnage, he sends Arthur, who is the oldest boy, on an errand. So he's not home.
Okay.
Okay, so he shoots and bludgeons the two girls. He returns to the house, shoots the wife. As soon as the gun was fired, Marie, who was inside, screamed. While the two small boys, James and Raymond, attempted to find a hiding place. And that is so sad.
It is.
So then Charles shoots Marie and then finds and kills the two boys. Lastly, he kills little 4-month-old Mary Lou. And it is thought that she was bludgeoned to death.
Jesus.
Yeah. After the murders, he goes into the woods and he's there for several hours. And it's not in this, but there is a tree and they find footprints, like multiple, like runs
Okay.
around the tree where he basically paced the perimeter of this tree for hours. And then he shoots himself. And by this time, I don't know if it was neighbors or what, or Arthur, who is now home, sees this, goes for help. But by this time, there's people, and the son, Arthur, and whoever else is there hears this gunshot. They go find him in the woods. So the bodies of the family members were all found with their arms crossed, I'm assuming like this,
Hmm.
and rocks under their heads. The gunshot, okay, it isn't here. The gunshot signaling Lawson's own suicide was heard by many people who already had learned of the murders on the property and were gathered there. A police officer who was with Arthur is the one that ran down and discovered Charles' body. along with letters to his parents. And then it talks about the footprints around the tree. So some theories on the motive. Months before the event, Charlie had sustained a head injury. And if you listen to a lot of true crime, that's kind of par for the course for people who just go off the rails. There's a head injury somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So some family and friends theorize it had altered his mental state, which is definitely a possibility.
Yep.
However, an autopsy and analysis of his brain at Johns Hopkins found no abnormalities.
Medicine was pretty early at that time yet, too, though.
Yeah. And then the next theory on the motive is Marie's rumored pregnancy by Charlie. Same thing, I guess. And it says it was not until the book White Christmas, Bloody Christmas, which was written by a relative. Trying to peek ahead to see. It was. Okay, so it says it was not until the book was published in 1990 that a claim of Charlie sexually abusing Marie surfaced. So that didn't even go around in the 1920s. That didn't come around until 70 years later. Okay, so it wasn't until the book was published in 90, beginning with an anonymous source who heard a rumor during a tour of the Lawson home shortly after the murders. And the tours I'm going to get to in a minute, because that is like the one thing, I mean, besides the fact it was Christmas and a disgusting murder, that stuck out with me. There's a little legacy type thing. What? Squirrel?
Yeah. At least now when we say squirrel, there's an actual squirrel diverting my attention.
Right.
I just didn't get distracted with something shiny.
The day before the book was to be published, the author received a phone call from Stella Lawson, a relative, who had already been interviewed for the book. Stella had said she had overheard Fanny's sisters-in-law and aunts, including Stella's own mother, discussing how Fanny had confided in them that she had been concerned about an incestuous relationship between Charlie and Marie. And Stella's mother had passed away in 1928, a year before the murders, meaning that Fanny had been suspicious of the incest long before the murders. More support for this theory was revealed in The Meaning of Our Tears, published by the same author in 2006. A close friend of Marie Lawson's, who was the one suspected of being impregnated by her dad, Ella May, came forward and disclosed that a few weeks before Christmas 1929, Marie confided in her that she was pregnant by her father, and that both he and Fanny knew.
Oh.
Another close friend and neighbor to the Lawson family, Hill Hampton, had stated that he knew of serious problems going on within the family, but declined to elaborate. So this is, I guess, like a little fun fact. Shortly after the murders, Charlie's brother Marion opened the home as a tourist attraction.
Because that's not weird and creepy and morbid.
Right. But I mean, that's why we're here. Come on.
True. But I mean, it's different. Like if there's some kind of activity, or something like that to, prompt people to want to see it. But as far as it just being the scene of a gruesome murder, I mean, that's a little sketchy to me.
Just wait. And like I said, this is the part that stuck out to me because I was like, why would people do this? So the Christmas cake that Marie had baked on Christmas Day before the murders was displayed during this tour.
Ew.
It doesn't say what kind of cake it is, but it had raisins on it. Because people were taking the raisins off the cake as souvenirs.
Oh my God.
Is that not the most fucked up thing? First of all, raisins in a cake by itself is fucked up.
It is. I agree.
Sorry. But now you got strangers traipsing through this home, stealing the raisins off the cake.
Maybe they were just really hard up for raisins.
Maybe, but they were taking them as souvenirs. So eventually, the cake was placed in like a glass cake server.
They put a topper on it.
And it was displayed in that case for many years. It doesn't say exactly how many, but another little legacy about this case is it inspired a number of songs and other tributes, including the murder ballad, The Murder of the Lawson Family, which was originally recorded by the Carolina Buddies in 1930, which is just the year after the murder. And then it was covered by the Stanley Brothers in 1956.
Wow, talk about sensationalism.
Yeah. If you're interested, the case was also featured in an episode of the podcast Criminal. The Lawsons were laid to rest in a family graveyard established in 1908, originally for the use of the W.D. Browder family and selected friends and neighbors. Today, it is open for burials only for direct descendants of W.D. Browder. I don't know who that is.
Me either.
I'm sorry. So there's limited availability for plots. A sad little side note, Arthur, who was the only surviving member of the family, died in 1945 in a motor accident. He was 31 and he left behind a wife and 4 children.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And one of the newest things, and I know I brought this up, I believe in our group chat, the series 28 Days Haunted on Netflix. It shows the place where the murder took place.
I knew I recognized the story.
And it talks about what happened there. And that, my peoples, is the very quick version. The quick version of the gruesome Lawson family murders.
Nice. I knew it sounded familiar. And that would be why. It was because of that show.
When you said that, I was like, yep, she's going to know when I get to that last point. And that is the very last point on here. And I'm like, that's where she's going to know it from.
Yep. Because leave it to me. I watch all the haunted shows.
Yeah. So that, like I said, I first heard that, I believe it was on, And That's Why We Drink.
Okay.
That is my go-to podcast. I love that podcast. I love it. I love it. I love it. I got Rachel listening to it. And then they listening to, and that's why we drink, kind of turned both Rachel and I on to another podcast called Morbid. That one's a really good one. That they're the ones that fucked up the Shepherd case.
Bastards.
But they do an absolutely amazing job on the West Memphis 3.
Okay.
Like that, because of the way they covered it, I will never cover it.
Yeah.
Because they did do such an awesome job. Why they didn't give that same respect to the Shepherd case?
Maybe something came up and they were just like, yeah, we don't have time to delve into it. Let's just touch on it.
Well,
I feel like that's all they did. They only touched. They didn't.
What it is, they became part of a podcasting network.
Mm.
And honestly, now it's very hard to listen to them because the quality of their stuff has plummeted.
So maybe it's that it's not them doing the research like they used to. It's someone else doing research and being like, here, read this.
That's possible. And they've also got many other ones that they do.
Yeah.
They do have one called Crime Countdown. Someone else writes it. They read the countdown. That one's pretty good. It's quick and to the point. And then they have one where I haven't listened to it, where they watch episodes of Buffy and talk about it. I have never watched.
Ma'am, how
I've never
dare
watched.
you?
Never watched. There's a lot of stuff you'd think I've watched, but I haven't.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up on that. I had to watch it every week. Had to. And then as an adult, when various streaming things came about, I had to binge it, because I had to watch it again.
Okay. She's frozen. She's robotic.
Wow, wow, wow.
Right. I know you were talking, you got really choppy and robotic. And yeah, just suffice it to say, I've never watched it and I probably never will. I'm just not a fan of a lot of the people that are in the show.
Okay. That makes a difference.
Yeah. And I'm one of those people, if I don't like an actor or actress, I can't watch their work.
Sometimes though, it's just bad directing. Sometimes, not all the time.
I mean, there are certain actors I don't like. They could come to a play on my front porch and I'm not going to watch it. Just.
That's pretty rough.
Yeah. And it's bad. I mean, I guess if the story was really, really good, maybe. Like, I really had a hard time watching Interview with a Vampire because I can't stomach Tom Cruise.
Okay, yeah. Honestly, I'm not a fan either. And to be honest, never subscribe to the whole fandom of him. But the others, yes, ma'am. Those who are what I was watching it for.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so yeah, I would just kind of cringe through the parts where, he was all about himself. And watched it for the rest of it.
Yeah. I mean, it was good. But yeah, not a fan, so it's very hard for me to watch anything with him in it. I'm not overly crazy about Sarah Michelle Gellar.
I can understand that.
But I mean, unless it's Cruel Intentions, because come on, that's an awesome movie. so,
It is.
um, so yeah, that's not one I've seen. Eh,
I think I watched one of the Mission Impossible movies
never.
only because I didn't have a choice. And then once I had a choice, I never watched any of the other ones.
I think, in all honesty, the last movie I watched him in on purpose was Days of Thunder.
Eyes Wide Shut.
I did watch that, and it was the dumbest fucking thing.
See,
I
and I was watching it more so for the aspect of a secret society, what's really going
same,
on.
same, and it was just no, it was very difficult to get through. But
It was.
I did. I lived. I'm here. Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
after
But yeah,
after that one,
that's
I don't think I watched any other one with him.
just that podcast. Actually, I don't think I've listened to another episode since the Shepherd one.
Oh no, that's bad. They did a bad job then. Naughty podcasters.
Yeah. Well, I think what it is was I didn't listen to, and that's why we drink for a long time. So I've been binging that one,
Okay.
and haven't really had time to listen to anything else really. Um, but yeah, I didn't listen to that for a long time because the one was on maternity leave, and I didn't like any of the guests that they had on there. It wasn't the same chemistry with
Yeah.
the other host, with all the other people. I just didn't like it. So when she came back from maternity leave, I waited a few months and then started listening so I could. I'm
Gotcha.
almost caught up. So yeah,
See,
that's
and
where I'm
like
at.
even for you and I, like if something were to happen to where one of us couldn't record with the other one and we had to have someone like step in for us, um, I think it would have to be Dan and Sherry who would step in for us. That way the dynamic would continue. I think we
Yeah.
lose the dynamic with others.
Or Rachel.
Yeah, or Rachel. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that would definitely work. So
yeah. I think we all flow well together, basically.
yeah,
So
yeah, because we've all got that flow, like you said.
yep.
You know, we get along. There's chemistry, and yeah, it would definitely. Or we would just be like, hey, look, we can't do an episode this week because there's some sickness, there's some injury. I
Right.
mean, we did postpone episodes because of my arm when a hood slammed on it, and I couldn't take
Yep.
notes. I
Yeah.
couldn't do anything.
Yep.
But yeah, I and that's why like I had recommended too the whole let's record an episode or two just to have in the vault. So if we need to take a week off for those reasons, we got something.
Yep. And yeah, I very much like the idea. We're trying to stick with you, folks. We are.
Yeah. There's some stuff I wanted to share with you when we're all done.
Okay. Deal.
Okay.
Are we done?
Yeah, I think so. It is something that,
We'll discuss it.
yeah, it'll
Okay.
be posted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to end it. And I hope you're having an amazing holiday.
I hope you at least got something that you asked for or that you could use.
Or something you didn't know you needed.
There you go. I like that too.
Yeah. So
On that
have a good
note,
one.
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year. Bye.
Bye.